Well, hello and good evening. It is Friday, September 18th, my parents' 70th anniversary. We had a party this weekend, but their official day is today. And so I called them this morning and told them happy anniversary. And it was great to see them this weekend. And people are popping in. Jake stopped by and said, "Good evening, Sandy." Charmaine is here. And um, it was very exciting. 70 years of marriage is just like, whoa. Cheryl is in the house tonight, and so I appreciate you guys just starting to pop in. So that is fabulous. I am Sandy with Suburban Homesteader, Wyoming, Arizona. In Wyoming right now, that's true. 71 degrees today, but in less than a month we will be going to Arizona. So what do I do to have my garden ready when I go to Arizona? Hello, Matthew. Is it Friday? No, today's Thursday. Thursday the 18th. My mom and dad's anniversary. And Julie is in here. And she says, nope, still Thursday. Cheryl says, thank you, love my notebook. Yay! She was a winner. Charmaine says, my daughter and grandson have birthdays today too. 39 and 18 respectively. That's very exciting. So please tell them happy birthday from us. I do love a good birthday. I do. Now, last week on my live, I talked about frost and frost dates. We still have not had frost. We're at my house. Now, around me has had some frost, but I have not had frost. And so you can win $25 Amazon gift card if you guess the right date and time without going over. So if you're a half hour earlier, 2 hours earlier, but nobody else has guessed in that time period, you will be the winner. I figured $25 Amazon gift card, anybody could win that. Oh, Charmaine, thank you very much. It's just like going wherever. I don't know what to do with it. Some days I think I should cut it, but then it's getting pretty long. And then I think, maybe I'll just wait a little bit longer. So, I don't know. So if you want to win the $25 Amazon gift card, you just need to comment either on my frost video from last week or on the live stream from last week, and just put in what date you think it's going to frost at my house and approximately what time. Now, Julie says, I can't think of frost right now. We had the remnants of a tropical storm pass through today, warm and humid. It was actually pretty nice today, even at 71 today. It was foggy this morning. And I told Joe, how are you going to golf this morning? You're not even be able to see where that ball goes. So he brought the yellow golf balls. So, but he said it was fun. So I'm sure the fog lifted once the sun was really coming up a lot. So now we are leaving for Arizona in basically less than a month. Actually, less than a month. It's really about, wow, it's like around 3 weeks. It's just like, I have a lot of stuff to do still. I do. I have to finish some paintings. I have to have some stuff ready for a Christmas show that's in Wyoming, plus a Christmas show that's in Arizona. But what do I do? How do I get my seedlings from Wyoming to Arizona? It used to be when we first started going down to Arizona, the big nursery there would have lots of plants, tomatoes and peppers and all kinds of stuff. But through the years, they've gotten less and less vegetables, more flowers. And then the vegetables don't come until about January. So I don't like that. I mean, I could go to Lowe's, because there's a Lowe's and they do have vegetables for about $5 a tomato or a pepper. I'm just not willing to pay that. Okay, cheap, I know. Jake, how are you? The girls are back, I see. So you're probably very excited about that. And Jake says, busy, busy. Yeah, life is always busy, busy. So I make seed snails. Now, Let me scroll that. Have you guys ever made seed snails? I mean, I've done videos, and Ann, Dale, and I have talked about seed snails before. Um, there's a lot of things going around the internet that says that this lady in England thought of them 3 years ago. Well, that's just totally not true. Sorry, just not true. I mean, there's literally articles you can read about it, seed snails from 12, 15 years ago. We have been doing seed snails for a very long time. But I think she just kind of, people had, newer gardeners didn't know about it, other people hadn't done it before, and so they credit her, but it's just not true. Um, Julie says, I may have to break down and get a few starts. Some doing better than others. No seed snails yet. Okay, so let's talk about seed snails. So I always have bubble wrap because when you do fused glass, people buy it or you're moving it from one show to another, and you have to have bubble wrap. Bubble wrap. I do like bubble wrap. Now, this is the bubble wrap that has little tiny bubbles. You can have bubble wrap that is much bigger. You could. But when it comes to seed snails, I have just found that the smaller works better. Now, if you didn't have any bubble wrap, I have used felting. I have used the material that you line pots with. But the bubble wrap is the easiest because the roots can't get through there, where any kind of material, the roots want to come through there, and then they want to, when you try to pull it apart, you're breaking roots. And so I don't really like that. Cheryl says she hasn't tried it yet, but she hopes to. Julie says, a roll of bubble wrap makes me feel important. I love bubble wrap. You know, maybe it's because when we were kids, we'd pop those bubbles and it was just really fun. So I brought up some of my plants I've been growing downstairs. I have heat mats and I have just shop lights. They're not grow lights, they're just shop lights, and I have a warm and a cool. Because when you buy those fluorescent tubes, you can buy them as warm or cool. And I just find if you use one of each, it grows really well. So I want to be able to take a lot of plants down in a little tiny space, right? Let me just pull one of them out. Okay, so these are tomatoes. See those roots coming out? Now these are, oh, these are one of my favorite tomatoes. These are called pink accordions. And I do water them, and once a week, I water them with a fertilizer. I haven't watered them for a few days because I knew I was going to talk to you guys, and I didn't want water dripping out the bottom. So after the live, I'll go downstairs and I'll water all of them. So I have a great big tub. It's only about, I don't know, 6 inches tall. It's one of those clear ones that you can put like, oh, I don't know, crap to slide underneath your bed, Christmas wrap, stuff like that. You could put in there. But like this one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plants in this little tiny space. And when I get to Arizona, I'll just cut off these rubber bands. I just use a little tag so I know what it is. Now these ones I planted August 17th. Okay. And I'll just keep the heat mat and the lights on them. They're on about 16 hours a day. And I just keep moving the lights up farther just because the plants are getting bigger. Now, I do have some downstairs that are probably 4, 5, 6 inches taller than these ones. And they were planted the same day, but some of them are just a little more vigorous. Like I planted celery the same day as these tomatoes, but the celery is only this big. Takes longer to germinate. But in this little space, I probably have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 celery plants. It's just crazy. But all you're doing is cutting whatever length of bubble wrap you want. I usually do about 2.5 feet, 3 feet if I want a lot of plants. Fold it in half so the bubble is out where the soil's it's gonna be against the soil that where the bubbles are. And then I put my seeds down, I roll it up. I've used string, I used rubber bands this time. I've used ribbon, I've used yarn, whatever to hold it together. Now, one of the things I don't do a lot, but I mean, I have, but it's just easier to buy the sets or the plants. And these are onions. These are some bunching onions, like a green onion you get in the store. That's what these ones are. But look at all those. I mean, there's probably 50 or 60 of them in there. But it just makes it so that I'll take them out and I actually won't keep them in the tub. I'll put them in some tall boxes because they're only going to be in the back of my truck for basically 2 days, maybe a day and a half, depending on how fast we drive. And then they'll go out onto my porch because it'll be warm. It's been in the 90s and just over 100 in Yuma right now. And it's just an easy thing to do. Julie says, 1 month, wow, great growth. I think it's a combination of the heat underneath, the heat pads underneath, and then the lights for about 16 hours. And sometimes I'll turn the fan on so it has a little bit of vibration. If you find that you're getting like gnats, because sometimes it's just in the soil, you buy a bag from the store and it's just there. That's just all there is to it. Just remember, gnats are in the same family as a mosquito. And so anything that would kill a mosquito or stop it from reproducing would do the same thing to gnats. So you could use one of those donuts, dissolve it in some water, and spritz it if you're having a problem with that. Spritz it onto the soil. I just use one of those yellow sticky rectangular pieces. They're a yellow sticky trap. I just put that by there and it'll catch any of them. Like this is Swiss chard. Now this is way too much Swiss chard for me, right? There's no way when these plants get big, Joe and I are going to be able to eat this much Swiss chard. Just the facts. But my mom and dad live next door to us. Several of my friends have little tiny gardens down there. And I just told them, I said, I'm growing plants. I'm bringing them down. You can have some. Now, this one, so remember, all of those ones you saw so far, I planted on or about August 17th. Some of them August 19th. But some things I don't want to plant right away. So I planted these on the 8th of September. These are cucumbers. Seriously smells like cucumbers. The roots are already coming down through. And just the same, that's way too many cucumber plants for me. But all my friends can have them too. And it's just such a little space. Like there's probably 25 plants right there. And I mean, seriously, that's probably 4 inches across. It is crazy. Julie says, on third seedlings of celery and parsley. Oh, wow. Probably the wrong temperature or old seeds. Leeks are coming up well. I have some leeks coming up too. I just didn't bring those up here because I love leeks. And in fact, I'm going to pull my leeks this weekend from the community garden and I'll do a short video because, man, those babies are like this big around. They're just fabulous. Now, one of the other things I like to grow down there is anything that's a brassica. But look at how beautiful those little plants are. These are called tender cabbages. Not hardy wise. They're just I don't know. I think it's just a name. Seriously, it's just a name. Charmaine wants to know, will my vanilla beans go bad if they are sticking out of the vodka. Um, I can't say that eventually they would, yes. But what if I was you, I'd either put it in a different jar or just go buy some other vodka and put it in there, or brandy or whatever you're using. But they do need to be under the water because, or not under the water, the alcohol, because the alcohol is what preserves it. And if you have part of it sticking out, it's not, that part's not helping to infuse the vodka. So yeah, I would. Charmaine says, "Oops, I got kicked off." Oh, and Henry is here. Hello, how are ya? I was just actually showing all of my seed snails. Well, this isn't all of them. I have a tray. It's basically 4 feet long and probably a foot and a half across. And it's just packed with different vegetables because I have the cabbages I showed you. I have broccoli. I have Brussels sprouts. I have 3 or 4 different types of tomatoes. I have peppers growing down there. My pumpkins and my different squashes are up. And so, and some of my seeds of my pumpkins, they're really old. They some of 'em were for um one packet was from 2021. I think one was from 2017. So I planted way more seeds because I thought those packets are old, and so the germination rate is probably not going to be as good. And so when you're making seed snails, you need to know how long it should take to germinate your seed. Now, if you're past that date, and say it's supposed to germinate in 7 days, I'd probably give it to about 9 or 10. But if you don't see any germination in there, those seeds probably aren't viable. They could be too old, maybe they got too cold, they could be a lot of different things. Maybe they're not getting enough water to sustain them. So, maybe they got dry and then they dried out because that can kill a seed. Um, so if you're not seeing them after a couple days after the germination date that they give you, I would probably just get some more seeds. Not probably out of that packet, a different packet. Julie says, I dumped out some pots into the planter this week. Something came up today, either a pumpkin or a watermelon. So I'm not excited, but I'm not expecting it should produce fruit. Really? It could, just give it a little time. But it's really interesting because, when you can see these roots coming out, that's why they need to stay moist. So because they're in a tub downstairs, there's always a little bit of sitting water. I have a little bit of dirt in there so that it's not just, it won't get waterlogged, but the roots are actually in some mucky stuff at the bottom. It's not very thick. And I think it helps keep these little bottom roots so that they don't dry out. And, oh, I didn't show you these ones. Oh, good. Henry says he is doing good. He's got deer eating his apples, Now, this is Chinese cabbage. This is actually called Chinese Hilton cabbage. I love Chinese cabbage, mostly because I love eating it. I love cooking Chinese food with it. But when I'm in the garden, a lot of times I just break off one of these leaves with the little ones, and I just munch on it. But they're just doing so well. Yeah, they're really good. See, you can munch, you can forage right in your garden. So I'm going to put those back in there. Now, one thing I have to do when it's a seed snail, it's not really any different than when you buy seedlings from the greenhouse or you've grown them yourself. I have to let them get acclimated to my Arizona house. I can't just take them and just plant them out. I'll harden them off just like any other seedling that you have, because you really want them to be successful. I don't want to have wasted my time and use that space in my truck when we're going down to Arizona for something that's not going to grow. And so I will just let them be in the sun for an hour and I'll bring them back in. Then the next day it'll be a few hours. And after about 4 days, it'll be basically all day. And then I will just plant them. If you can't do that, there are ways to protect those little seedlings. Like you could do a little low tunnel, a little hoop. You could, if you have some tomato cages, you could always wrap a little plastic or a sheet over top of it so that it's staying warm, but it's not getting beat down by the sun. Because they're going to go from, oh, probably downstairs, it's probably at the warmest, maybe 70 degrees down there. And when we get to Arizona, it'll be 90s. And so that would be a big shock to them. And I don't want them to not be successful. And so it's just, if you're going to take the time and the money and just your patience that you've watched them, like every single day I go down and see what's up. What has true leaves, what's grown really well. And like all my pumpkins and stuff are up, but they just have the first set of leaves. They don't have the others because I planted them 10 days ago. So they're all up and you can see those true leaves coming up through there, but they're not quite there yet. But by the time in 3 weeks, they will be perfect to plant out. And I didn't have to spend $5 for each plant. That just blows my mind that I go into Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart or someplace, and there's all these people with these little 4-inch pots that they're paying $5 a piece for. And I think, you better take care of those tomatoes that you already just paid $5 where you could have got a whole seed pack for less than that. But those are just choices that people make. And I just, for me, I'm not saying they're wrong. I don't want to sound like that. I just think that you have better uses with your dollars than to spend $5 per plant when you can start them yourself. Because even if you don't have the grow lights and you don't have a heating pad, put it in the window where the sun comes through. And then at night when it's cooler, you can just set it down on the counter. Don't leave it there if it's going to be really cold. But you just want that light to come in and they will just grow and grow for you. Henry says, enjoying the veggies. We are canning every weekend. Oh, that seems like my life. But I really have to really think about things. Now, I had so many zucchinis this year. I just put it on Facebook that didn't matter what size they were all $1 a piece. I sold every single one that I put on Facebook. And I thought, well, that's helping me pay for my seeds. And I thought, I still had plenty of zucchinis for myself, and I gave to my neighbors. And I just thought, I got to reevaluate how many zucchini plants do I really need. Now, if I think of it that I can have 2 or 3 extra ones, sell those, and that'll pay for all my seeds, any new seeds that I buy, I think that's a pretty good deal. But I'm always trying to be very economical with my garden. Now, I have done the community garden and my garden. And I was really thinking this year about, for next year, maybe not doing the community garden. But I think I need to. One, I can grow a lot of things that needs to spread out, a lot of squashes and pumpkins over there, or I could have corn and squashes all in the same spot. And so, plus honestly, it gets me out of the house every single day. Because if I didn't, there'd be days and days that I'd be just here. Not that that's bad. I have plenty of things to do. But I just thought, nah, I think I better do it for a few more years. I mean, I don't mind giving a lot of the vegetables away. Cheryl says, I need zucchini. I love zucchini. And if you watched one of my other lives a few weeks ago, I talked about the extra zucchini. I peeled and I chopped it up, took all the seeds out, of course. So they were just little chunks, maybe a fourth of an inch thick. And then I boiled them for about 20 minutes in juices, grape juice, raspberry juice, different juices. And then I canned them because zucchini takes on the flavor of whatever. That's why you can make a mock apple pie and it'll taste like apple pie, even though it's zucchini in there. Mansoor, how are ya? Thanks for stopping in. Awesome. So there's always things to do with zucchini. I know there's lots and lots of jokes about zucchinis and people leave them on your doorstep and run. But I have found that there's a lot of people that are always looking for zucchinis. Farmers markets are a great way. But if you have a friend that's a gardener, you can always let them know that if they have extra zucchini, you would take some. But I usually shred a bunch of it up, put it in freezer bags, and put it in my freezer. So then I can just use it whenever. And any of the extra ones that I've always had, I've just always given them to chickens or rabbits. You know, if it gets been in the freezer too long, it's just an easy way to feed them too. Because people like zucchini, and so do animals. So it's just a few weeks and we will be in Arizona. I am pulling lots of stuff out of my garden this weekend. And I'm going to talk Joe into bringing over our chipper shredder because I have a big compost pile over there that I just dump stuff in because I don't find any reason to throw anything in the trash can of plant-wise or even weeds as long as there's no seeds on the weeds. Because any of that energy it took out of the soil, I want to put back in. So I'm going to see if he'll come over with me because the chipper shredder is large and it would just be easier if he came over and helped me. And I'm going to move some of my arches that I have at the community garden. I'm going to move those, and so it will be fun weekend of work. But I'm going to pull all the last of my onions. I'm going to pull my pumpkins. I have been harvesting my cantaloupes. Oh, I should have brought one in. They're big. And I am going to pick all of my jalapeno peppers and pull those plants out. And I'm going to make cowboy candy. And so if you don't know how to make cowboy candy, I would just look for a video this coming week on how to make it because it's good and it's tasty and it's hot and it's sweet at the same time. And that's a good combination. A lot of people like them and have lots of peppers. Actually, every time I go over to the community garden, I pick more peppers. But I'm most excited about those leeks because they are so big and fat. And I'm going to take some of my potatoes I grew and I'm going to make some homemade potato leek soup. I'll make a video of that too because that is so incredibly good. You make a roux so that it thickens up and oh yeah, it's good. Oh, Henry, thank you. Remember to give a thumbs up because that always helps me. I always have way more people watch my live stream later, which is totally okay. But remember, if you haven't posted when my first frost date is, you do it on either the short from last week, the regular video on frost, or on my live stream last week when we talked about frost. And you could win a $25 Amazon gift card. But it is, oh, looky here. Henry says, my wife makes an awesome salsa. I love salsa, but I have to tell you, I don't really like canned salsa. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I love fresh onions and the salsa that when I can it, not that I don't can it because people like it, but for me, I love fresh salsa. So if you guys have a recipe for canning salsa that your onions are going to stay crisp, and I mean, the tomatoes are never going to be crisp, but if you have one of those recipes, I would appreciate it. Otherwise, I just make salsa as I go. So that's totally fun. Cheryl says, so enjoy your lives. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to let you guys go. I got to go fix that Joe some supper. I have to have 2 paintings finished by tomorrow to send them in for a show. And I mean, I got 2 done, but I'm actually working on this one over here. Right over there. It's got a really crazy background. Not that you can see that from the distance. And then I'm making aspen trees in front of it. So I'm not sure I'll enter that one, but because I can enter 3, but I do have 2 already. But everybody have a great day. I appreciate you coming in, spending some time with me, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.